guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited about today's video. Summer is just around the corner, so I know a lot of us are ramping up our fitness journey, starting our fitness journey, getting into the healthiest, best shape of our lives. So I wanted to share with you guys my 5 simple habits to lose body fat and keep it off. And if you're new here, my name is Ellie. I am a holistic nutrition and fitness coach for women. I've been coaching and in the fitness industry for over 5 years at this point. These habits aren't always necessarily super easy because you do need to be consistent with them, and that's going to take some work and some discipline, but they are very simple and it's going to be a very straightforward video. Of course, if you have any further questions, let me know, comment down below, and I'm always happy to make follow-up videos to give you more education. So without further ado, let's get into my 5 simple habits for having a successful fat loss journey. All right, habit number 1, I'm sure you've heard before. It's very simple, but I think because of that, it's often overlooked. People don't realize its impact, and that is drink the proper amount of water. Drinking enough water is going to curb your cravings. As I always tell my clients, it's good to focus on adding all these good things in rather than a mentality of restriction, having to take things out. So by drinking enough water, having a water goal, you kind of naturally reduce potentially high calorie drinks that you would drink otherwise, like sodas and things like that. Also, drinking enough water just helps the entire body's fat burning process. This is breaking it down very simply, but just thinking of your body as like a well-oiled machine when it's hydrated. And then not to mention, other than fat loss, drinking enough water is amazing for your skin. And who doesn't want glowing skin? You want to be drinking at least half of your body weight in ounces of water. So just divide your body weight in half, drink that in ounces. You don't really need to be drinking more than a gallon. So if half your body weight is more than a gallon, just shoot for like 100 to 128 ounces. If you're starting from a point where your water intake is way below that, there's no problem with gradually increasing. It's gonna help you get more used to it, help you get more used to going to the bathroom more often, because this is a common thing I see with clients who aren't used to drinking a ton of water. They do have to go to the bathroom a bit more often. But what I like to tell people is this is also great for upping our step count, which we'll talk about later. Foreshadowing. But my biggest tips, carry a water bottle with you everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. It's like your emotional support buddy. It's essentially like having your phone. I always have my water. I always have my phone. I never get in the car without a full water. Highly recommend using a large size. So of course, Hydro Jug, the Stanleys, those are great because they're 40 ounces. And then they also fit in your cup holder. Pretty easy, but they also make water bottles that are like a full gallon. So whatever works for you, but a bigger water bottle tends to be better. If you don't know what size your classic water bottle is, they usually say on the bottom how many ounces they are. If it's a larger one, it's easier to track how much water you've had rather than adding up like 6 of a certain size of water bottle. With my Hydro Jug or Stanley, it's like 2, 2.5. Much easier to track. I do recommend if you're working out, adding 20 ounces to your recommended. Also, little promo for you guys. I do have a code with Hydro Jug. I'm gonna pop it on screen. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you'll get a little discount if you use that on their website. If you're someone who struggles to drink water because you don't really like the flavor, you can add like slices of fruit to it, cucumber, lemon, kind of spice it up. You could also try an electrolyte brand. I specifically have had good experiences with LMNT, Element. And then if you use liquid IV, I would just double check that you're getting the one that doesn't have a ton of added sugar, but that can also make things more fun, make your water more flavorful. I also really love seltzer water. This is an acquired taste, I feel, but for me now, this like hits the craving sometimes of a soda, just that carbonation. I love carbonation. If you're someone who's very busy throughout the day, when you have a chance to drink water, rather than taking a sip, do the 10 gulp method. So take 10 full gulps. That way, if you are short on time or you're forgetting to drink water, at least you're getting a good amount in one sitting. Wrapping up, tip number 1, make sure you're drinking enough water, half your body weight in ounces. Grab a water bottle, buy one if you need to, and make it your best friend. Tip number 2, a big one, is to start strength training / resistance training regularly. So strength training and resistance training are essentially a form of exercise that focuses on getting stronger and building muscle. This might seem a bit confusing if you are kind of brand new in the fitness world to weight loss in general. There's a difference between weight loss and fat loss. That's why I titled this video Fat Loss. Just because you lose weight on the scale does not mean it's coming from fat. Whether we have a weight loss goal or we just want to change the shape of our body, we are shooting for predominantly fat loss. Strength training is good for this because it sends a very loud muscle building or muscle maintaining signal to the body. And the more muscle you have on your body, the faster your metabolism is. Building muscle is very good for our hormones, which again is great for so many other things. It's great for our bone health. It makes us stronger. It is the absolute best form of exercise for sculpting your dream body and losing body fat, even if you have a ton of weight to lose. Now that we've got that covered, let's talk about what strength training really is, how to do it properly. You want to make sure that you're having appropriate rest times between sets. So some basic things about strength training, some of the lingo. So you'll have sets and reps. So say it's something like a bicep curl. If it's 3 sets of 10, you're doing 10 bicep curls, you're resting 60 to 90 seconds, and then you're doing your second set, resting, and then you're doing your third set. That's kind of the structure of it. So we want to make sure we're having enough rest time because that gives our muscles time to recover before we lift heavy again or challenge them again. And this again is going to send the loudest muscle building signal, which is what we want. I in general recommend starting with 2 to 3 full body resistance or strength training sessions a week. I do have programs I've just started recently creating outside of my one-on-one coaching. So I have one available for purchase as I'm making this video, and it is a no equipment workout plan. It's only $5 and it has this exact structure. So if you want to check that out, I'll link it down below. If you're going to write up your own workout plan, I do suggest sticking majority to compound movements. Compound movements are movements that use multiple joints. A squat, a deadlift, an overhead press, a push-up, a row with a bar or dumbbell. So those kind of basic fitness moves. And how I would structure this is I would alternate an upper lower as I went through my workout. So I would do a squat, a push-up, a form of a deadlift, a lat pull down, or something like that. And then you could probably choose maybe 5 or 6 exercises for each workout. So let's summarize that one more time because I feel like that was a lot. So 2 to 3 full body strength training workouts a week, making sure you're incorporating compound movements and you have at least 60 to 90 seconds rest between sets. Now, 2 other really important things to note. Form is always going to be the most important. So go into your workouts with the mindset of getting stronger and getting better at the exercises, not on calorie burn. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach our body to build muscle, get more efficient at the exercises so it can burn more calories on its own at rest. To get the biggest bang for your buck, you want to apply something called progressive overload. I would do some research on it. I can make another video on it, but essentially it's just increasing the challenge over time so you know you're getting stronger. Just like I said with the structure of your workouts, I would write yourself a workout plan, or I would find a workout plan and I would stick to that exact same plan for a minimum of 3 weeks. This is where a lot of people kind of mess up, is they're doing something different in the gym every single day to try to avoid being bored. But do we want results or do we want to be entertained? So you're going to stick to the exact same workout plan anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. You're going to track your workouts. You can use your notes app, bring a little notebook to the gym, write out how much weight you're using, and then each time you come back to do a session, you either want to maintain exactly what you did last time, or you want to increase the weight, you want to increase the reps, or you just want to get better at your form. So wrapping up my tip number 2, get educated and start strength training. Write up an effective workout with proper rest periods, good exercise selection, and ideally full body workouts. Make sure you are prioritizing form above lifting heavy. Form always comes first. And then research some progressive overload and start applying that as well. And again, I've got my programs linked below and we'll have more programs coming out in the future. So stay tuned. All right, moving on to habit number 3. So this is going to be all about nutrition and the basics of nutrition when it comes to fat loss. Number 1, get educated on macros, but of the macros, if you don't already know, we have proteins, carbs, and fats. A basic education of those is going to take you a really long way. I actually did a training for my clients and recorded the whole thing. So I'm going to link that down below if you want to just watch a quick basics macro 101 training. What we're talking about today in this video mainly is going to be protein. So protein is the macro that is going to help your body build muscle. Also, our bodies burn more calories while processing protein than any other macro. It's going to keep you fuller longer. It's the most satiating macro, so it can help reduce cravings. It's magic. All right. Now, with your protein goal, you want to shoot for, in general, 1 gram per pound of goal body weight. So if you want to get into tracking, or if you have tracked, that's how you can do it. If you are someone who's not tracking, you don't have experience with it, or you don't want to start that quite yet, I would just suggest finding high quality lean protein sources and then aiming to include them in every single meal. It's okay if you don't necessarily get it into every single meal, but if you're aiming for that, you're probably going to be in a good place. And most people underestimate how much protein they get. Something like peanut butter does have protein in it, but it's not going to be as great of a protein source as something like 5 ounces of chicken or tilapia. As far as nutrients go in general, again, if you're tracking, I do recommend hitting a fiber count, at least 25 grams of fiber every day. So fiber just helps our body stay healthy. You can essentially think of it as like an internal broom through our digestive system. So high fiber foods are things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds. So whole foods essentially. And again, if you're not tracking, you can just aim to make 80% of your meals coming from whole foods, which alternatively, the opposite of whole foods is something like a processed food, like a bag of chips or something that has a ton of ingredients. I did a live training for my clients on how to read a nutrition label. That's just going to be a bonus of this video. If you want to get more educated on nutrition, I'll link that down below as well. It can be very helpful. The last thing I want to cover in the nutrition section is calories. I actually recommend not to go into a calorie deficit straight away. You can get a lot of benefit at staying at your maintenance calories, doing all these other behaviors, and still losing body fat. So this is what's called body recomposition. I do it with all of my clients pretty much. So you'll want to find your maintenance calories. I will link a calculator down below. This one tells you your estimated total daily energy expenditure. If you're brand new to tracking, I would recommend just getting used to tracking, see how it goes, see what calories you're averaging from what you normally eat before you try to hit a certain calorie goal. If you do start tracking and you find that you are significantly under your total daily energy expenditure this calculator set out for you, do not jump immediately to that number. You're going to want to increase slowly over time, as in like maybe 100 calories every couple of weeks until you get to that number. If you're someone who's above your TDEE, you can probably just jump straight down to that TDEE and that will be your maintenance. But for the simplicity of this video, eating at your current maintenance, upping your protein intake, and then doing everything else I said in this video is going to set you up for long-term fat loss. And when you are in a body recomposition phase and you are eating at your maintenance calories, you shouldn't really be seeing weight on the scale go down just yet, but you should be seeing your measurements changing. So I strongly recommend on a fat loss journey, make sure you are taking progress photos, front, side, and back at the same time of day every week. And then also make sure you are doing some measurements, because the number on the scale does not always tell the truth about if we're making progress or not. So it's good to have other means of measuring. So I would specifically measure around your waist, and you could also do glutes if you wanted to. The very last thing I'll say about nutrition, because this habit happens to be a bigger one, get good at grocery shopping regularly, getting the foods that are going to support your goals, protein, whole foods, fruits and vegetables. Little tip, in general, you can stick to the perimeter of the grocery store. That's where all that good nutritious stuff is. I would recommend setting a day of the week you go grocery shopping, or if you're a really busy person, Instacart. I've used that a couple times and that can also be very helpful. And like I said earlier, make sure you're focused on adding all of these good things in rather than having a mindset of restriction and focusing on anything you think you need to take out. Let's recap real quick. Plenty of protein, majority whole foods, and then you are eating enough calories. And I'm really strongly suggesting if you're brand new to fitness, weight loss, it's best not to jump straight into a tracking calorie deficit. There's plenty of things we want to do beforehand to get you into an optimal position. You can keep the fat off. That's our goal. That brings us to habit number 4, which is to have a generally healthy level of activity outside of the gym. The easiest way to measure this is going to be through step count. So you want to be hitting between 8 to 10,000 steps in a day. Some ways you can measure this: Apple Watch, an Oura Ring, a Whoop, Fitbit, that kind of thing. Those all measure step count. If you don't have that and you don't have the means to get that right now, you can also buy a cheap pedometer on Amazon. They'll count your steps. Our phones will also count our steps, but the only issue with that is that you have to have it in your hand, like while you're walking all the time, and we don't constantly always have our phone right in our hand. Now, some disclaimers. What I don't want you to do is turn this step count into a cardio session. We are not turning this into intense or super long distance runs. Now, there is a very specific reason for this, and this can be quite confusing because the general thought process has been if you want to lose weight, lose body fat, you just start eating less and moving more, which women especially tend to do by dieting and running more. But this is not good. Running and cardio cardio is actually a horrible tool for fat loss specifically. Cardio has its place. It's great for your heart health and general health, but it is not great for fat loss. If you are doing a lot of cardio and it's your primary form of activity, you tend to lose muscle, especially when paired with a diet and not eating enough food. And again, like I said earlier, we don't want to lose muscle. Muscle gives us that toned, sculpted look we're going for. It speeds up our metabolism. It makes our hormones healthier, makes us stronger, makes our bones healthier. There's so many benefits to muscle. That's why we don't want to use cardio as our primary form of exercise when we want to lose fat. With just your step count, you can just walk at a normal pace outside. Sometimes I'll do this inside on a treadmill, or I also have a walking pad from Amazon, which really helps me hit my step count. So if you work from home or if you like to watch your TV shows, a walking pad can be amazing as well. So I'll typically set my speed to like a 3. I wouldn't really go above like 3.5. If you are just someone who loves cardio, just make sure you're keeping a good balance with it. Make sure you're eating enough food, eating enough protein. You're able to still increase your strength in the gym, and that will kind of ensure that you are still keeping a good balance with it. But to wrap this up, in general, we just want to be hitting a good step count to have a healthy, optimally functioning body. So get a device that will help you track. Aim to hit 8 to 10,000 steps a day. Don't be too hard on yourself if you're quite far below this starting out. Just try and gradually increase. Now, some tips I have for hitting a good step count. The little things do count. So whenever I go to the store, to the gym, if I don't have a parking spot open, I'll park farther away, and then it's good for my step count. I love that. Taking your pets on a walk, or habit stacking, like if you have a call you need to be on, or you're just like talking to your friends, talking to your mom, take that phone call on a walk. And then I always like to mention too, if you are going to be walking outside, make sure that you have some defense with you, like pepper spray or taser. Us girls have to be safe out there. And that brings us to habit number 5. This one's probably going to be surprising for some of you out there, but it is actually sleep. You need to be sleeping enough. I do like to give a disclaimer to any of my girls out there who are moms to tiny little babies, newborns. If you're in that phase of life, it's just where you're at right now. Do your best. I'm sure you'd love to be getting more sleep. Talk to your partner if they can help you out to be getting more sleep. This is another thing why sometimes it's not better to go do your workout. Sometimes it's going to be better to take a nap if you are really behind on your sleep. So we want to be getting 7 to 9 hours. You want that quantity, you want that quality wise. When we're not sleeping enough, our body essentially sees it as a threat, and pretty much anytime the body feels like there's a threat to survival, it kind of primes a little bit more for fat storage and has a harder time building and maintaining muscle. That just kind of tends to happen. There was a study done with 2 groups of people that did go into calorie deficits. They had the exact same calorie deficit. Everything was controlled across the board, except one group had less sleep than the other. I think one group was like 7 or 8 hours and one group was 5. Everybody in the whole study ended up losing weight, but the group that had less sleep, actually half the weight they lost came from muscle, versus the group that had enough sleep, most of the weight they lost came from fat. And again, like I've already said in this video, we don't want to be losing muscle. It slows down our metabolism. We just don't look as toned. We don't want to be losing muscle, and sleep is huge for this. Some tips to be getting better sleep: cut off any caffeine intake by like 1 p.m. So you have plenty of hours before bed to let that get out of your system. That's a huge one. Dimming the lights like a half hour to an hour before bed, and avoiding blue light or our screens. So getting off your phone, getting off the TV at least a half hour before bed. But if you're someone who likes to watch like your show at night, I recommend buying blue light glasses. I'll link the pair that I use down below. But blue light glasses are going to block the blue light from our screens. And the reason blue light is such an issue is it actually delays your body's natural melatonin production, which is like your sleep hormone. So then it delays that natural onset of feeling tired. So the worst thing you can do when you can't sleep is to get on your phone in bed and be looking at your screen. Another thing too with like social media, that's just going to keep you awake because it's designed like essentially a slot machine. You don't know what's coming next. It's very stimulating. Off the screens, cut off caffeine, making a nice little herbal tea, getting in the bath, reading a book, just something that's like really calming, winding down, de-stressing is amazing to help you with your sleep. Make sure you're prioritizing your sleep as much as is possible. Shoot for that 7 to 9 hours, and the goal is to be able to fall asleep and stay asleep. Quick recap from the top. Number 1, make sure you're drinking enough water. Number 2, start strength training and resistance training. Number 3, start prioritizing your nutrition. through protein, whole foods, and sufficient calories. Number 4, make sure you're staying generally active by tracking your step count. And lastly, number 5, make sure you're prioritizing restful sleep. If you do these 5 things, you make them solid habits, you will see your body absolutely transform. Stay very consistent with them and you will see results. If you have any further questions on anything I talked about in this video, let me know. I'm again happy to make any follow-up videos to help you guys. Don't forget to check out my workout programs down below and all of those links. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, a healthy body is a hot body. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.